All right, here we go. We have Terence Penny in the building today. How are you doing today, man?
Hello. It's a wet day in Toronto, so you know how that's day. You're a little tired, but I'm here.
Yeah. Welcome to the Lens of Yashu, man. And it was a pleasure. It's actually amazing to have you here today, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now I've been checking out a lot of the tracks so far too. One of my favorite songs right now is Graduated. It also had a very dope music video. And it showed a very great message.
Graduation.
In that.
I shot that like 7 years ago or something like that. 2016.
Yeah.
And I graduated from college. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and then also Blessed is also a good song here and there too. Your first actual track, The Rebel, which was also on TP the Rebel, that was also very dope too. And then you just recently had one song with the music video that contained with the engagement and all that. So
yeah. Which song are you talking about? Engagement.
So there's The Rebel, which is on also known as TP the Rebel.
Yeah. Oh, you mean TP the EP?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then also I think the one referencing the marriage would be You. So
yeah. It's an engagement.
Yeah. And I've been reading a lot of the stuff too. You have an interesting story too, by the way. You're a youth worker. You've been in the choir for a while, and everything else too. Being from Jane and Finch, and working with a lot of dope acts like Nathan Baya and. I think Nathan Baya would be the one that I would know so far too, but also Quasi as well. Quasi, I also checked him out. You guys worked on a song on this project.
Oh, Quasi, yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah. So I want to get it started for you today. Being the Terence Penny interview. So you mentioned that so you grew up in Jane and Finch, and so that would be correct in that sense.
Yeah.
And I know that the environment might be different here and there too. It's been popularized in the sense but in the media and everything like that too. I don't think there's that much to discuss. But with you growing up in Jane and Finch, how did you manage to get by living in that area and having a positive outlook on the community and giving a good name for it instead of what the media usually portrays?
For me, I had a lot of people, the saying, it takes a village to raise a king. I had a lot of my community really support me in my formative years. A lot of people, if I was doing anything crazy, the older heads or whatnot, the older G's or whatever, they would kind of steer me in the right direction because they didn't want me to go in the same direction that they was going in. So, I've been doing a lot of, they have been supporting me like that. I legit was raised by many people in my neighborhood, as to other kids were too, No,
I definitely know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean too, and even with the youth worker story for a bit too. I want to get into that. So tell me more about that. Tell me more about your experience, on being a youth worker and what made you decide on on wanting to pursue in that path in that sense.
The reason why I became a youth worker, I was kicked out of elementary school at grade 2, and I was put in what you call a behavior classroom. And I had a lot of CYWs pour into me, really give me a lot of support when I was younger. So because of that, I just felt like it was natural to kind of give back what was been given to me. So, that encouraged me to want to become a CYW when I was older and, give back to the youths.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And I think that nowadays too, with the education system, sometimes it's very flawed in various communities too. And I could understand from perspective of what might cause the change for people to actually fix the education system in other areas. So do you feel in that sense too, do you feel the school would have played a bigger role if they had that chance to change, or do you think
they didn't really care? I feel they just saw a hoodlum from the neighborhood. And they just wanted to get rid of him, people got real stories, but it takes too much time to really, take time to listen to those people's stories. It takes a lot of time and money, and a lot of people are not interested in giving that up, even in the school board. We're there for your kids, you know what I'm saying? But, I appreciate those that really did help me out and, put that time in for me, because now I'm here talking to you about it, right?
Yeah. And let's get to it in that say too. So would you say that, being a youth worker is a great experience, and do you feel it made a big impact on your lifestyle in terms of the personal changes as well as the outer changes, like in that sense?
Yeah, nah, it definitely, you know, it taught me a lot. It taught me how to, like, you know, cope with certain situations and how to support other people. And I appreciate that because I don't just, you know, share those skills with kids, you know, I take that myself. So, like, it's definitely helped me, you know, as a young man, and, you know, it's been able to help people around me because I have a different kind of, like, look at situations. So, you know, that's always appreciated, you know. I feel like people are comfortable speaking with me, especially in the music industry. A lot of people are comfortable speaking with me because I know how to talk to people, because I be talking to youth all the time. So, you know, rap is a young man's sport.
Yeah, definitely agree, like in that sense too. And in that sense, like, would you say that it was like a vital part in wanting to become like a rapper and a musician, or would you say you had like other like influences that made you get into like rapping?
No, I was rapping before I, you know, was youth worker. But they kind of, you know, like met each other. You know, I was in school and the teachers, the professors knew I rapped. So, you know, they were like, yo, you can do this assignment. You can do this, if you do this assignment, like rap the assignment. If you rap the assignment, I give you 100%. Or you can just write a 10-page paper, like what you gonna do? So, you know, I'm finna do, you know, the rap instead. You know, instead of, you know, breaking my brain and whatnot. And they appreciated that. And, you know, it's down to the point where they had my music, you know, playing at graduation. That's where the song Graduation was. I was shooting a video about graduating college all while, you know, my song was being played and whatnot at graduation. So, you know, it just kind of, it was a full circle moment, you know?
Yeah. And I definitely know what you mean too. And I guess like with the other influences, like it stemmed from you being like in choir, and like also, I guess, you know, from the neighborhood influences, like in that sense.
Yeah.
True. So in the future, like, which artists like would you like to like work with someday in that sense?
Who would I like to work with? Anywhere, everywhere, or what?
Like, you know, like any person, like, you know, like an artist or like a rapper, an R&B singer, or even like any artist like outside of those like realms too. Like,
oh, one guy that I've been really listening to, I really like his music, is Burna Boy. So like, I'd like to get on that wave with him. You know, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, being from Jane and Finch too, you have like many artists like Pressa, Doovie, Honey Cocaine, like used to actually like live there at that point too. LB, Spiffy, you know, Nathan Baya too, and like a whole lot of other people like being from Jane and Finch, you know, blowing up like crazy. So do you feel like your community is bringing something different to the music scene, or do you feel like there should be more of a light that needs to be shed on?
Nah, like, yeah, it definitely brings a different light to the music industry, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, like, are doing their thing and they're hitting millions, so, like, shout out to them. You know, there's a door being, you know, kicked open, so, you know, them getting a light puts a lot on everybody. People want to see what's going on in the city, so, you know, I appreciate all those artists that are doing their thing, definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, like, I think nowadays too, like, I don't know if you've seen it before, but like there's like this issue between like a Northside Jane and like Southside Jane, you know, just based on the areas of music, with hood cultures, with everything like that too. Do you feel like in that sense too that like in some cases too, would there be like more unity, like in that sense, if all the drama like were to change in that aspect, or do you feel like it's nothing that you could like change in that aspect?
You know, this has been happening since the 80s, you know, on the North and South, you know. They're not far from each other, you know. And I grew up hearing about that, you know. Ironically enough, a lot of us grew up together playing basketball together. And, you know, all these rappers, you know, we all played like citywide. It was a basketball league where you go to different community centers across Toronto. So, you know, people grow up and they take their sides, and unfortunately blood is shed through that. But, you know, people do know each other, you know, so I can't answer that, because this has been something that's been happening beyond my years, you know. You can just only have relationships with people and treat people right. Now, whatever they do or whatever they claim or whatever set they move with, it's their business at that point.
Yeah.
Like, they're grown, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you know, there's youngers involved, but there's also some grown men in there, so, yeah. You know, you make your decision,
Yeah, no doubt. And it's interesting too, because, you know, as you said too, Jane and Finch is like, you know, like a village in that sense too, like, as you said, a village to like raise a child. So, you know, growing up with these like people too, like in these areas, do you feel like you've seen like changes overall, like just from seeing like their childhood, like up until now, just like with innocence, with all that other type of stuff too?
Yeah, changes have happened in the community, you know, like people go, it's either like, you know, like changes have happened, but you also gotta want things for yourself too, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're not, you know, accepting the change or looking to be a part of that, like you can still be in the same position that you was in, you know, and, you know, thank God that wasn't my position. But, you know, it takes, you know, a community, but it also takes, you know, you wanting that for yourself too. So I feel like if you're not desperate enough or anything like that, like, you won't get it, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. I want to get into your like music for a bit, like in that sense too. So like when we talk about projects like Vulnerability, Outside Looking Into, and I guess there was like a previous project, you know, that was that was like the prequel to Outside Looking, and then the TP the EP Deluxe. So tell me more about those creative processes for those projects and what inspired you to make them.
It was the place that I was in, actually, you know. It depends. Like each project has a different creative process, you know. I can't necessarily say I was in all the creative processes. Like you gotta ask in specific to which, you know, project that I was in, because most of the times it's like it's a diary kind of, like I know I was in this frame during this time, I was in this frame during this time. So it all depends on, you know, which project you're asking about.
All right. So if we become more recent, you know, TP the EP Deluxe, so we could use that one.
I think TP the EP Deluxe is a lot where I am now. Just like, you know, it's an extension of TP the EP, and you know, I feel like I got more comfortable with, you know, myself as an artist and what sound I want to have, a long while kind of intertwining, like, you know, my being brought up in Jane and Finch area, along with my faith as being a Christian and whatnot, and being a little bit older to kind of, you know, contextualize that for the listener so that they can enjoy it, you know, with some sauce. So, you know, that kind of like, you know, it was a much more mature Terence that kind of presented TP the EP2 and the Deluxe.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, recently you dropped, you know, You with the dope music video and the footage of you proposing to your fiance, you know, for marriage. So was the inspiration for that song more based on the idea of love and marriage, or was it like completely different?
What you mean? Like, you want to clarify that for me?
Like, you know, the song, like the inspiration that you had for You, was it more based on the idea of like love and marriage? And it's
not just the idea, it's reality, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, your boy is in love. I'm gonna be honest with you, very in love. For anyone who's watching, your boy is in love. Like, you know, my fiance, like, you know, we've been dating for some time, but, you know, like maybe a year and a half before I knew I wanted to propose. So like that song just came out of like, you know, it took me long to actually write that record, because, you know, I wanted to make sure every line mattered. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to put no filler lines, no nothing. I wanted every line to hit. I wanted her to know what I was talking about, because it was directed to her. So, you know, for me, like, I'm always writing in pockets of where I'm at. You know, I met a beautiful woman, and, you know, I want to spend my life with her. So I said, you know what, let me put that in a record, you know? So
yeah, no doubt. And, you know, black love at its finest too, you know, you gotta acknowledge black love, like in that sense too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So adding on to that idea, do you feel like society should encourage the idea of like marriage and long-lasting relationships to the black community more?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, people are doing a job of trying to destroy that and destroy what the nuclear family is. You know, I'm not saying that anybody kind of like, I don't think, you know, I didn't grow up in a nuclear family, and I've always wanted that, you know, like, you know, father and mother, kids, you know what I'm saying? Like grandparents, all of that, you know what I'm saying? And for me, like, I believe in that. So like, you know, I would like that for my household, and I like for people to kind of, you know, see that, you know, that it's possible in the black community to stay by your family and do what you got to do as a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just feel like people have an agenda of trying to, like, you know, destroy that or say you don't need that. It's a lie, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, I want to get back on to, you know, prior to that, you know, when you just started out, like, in that sense too. So, you know, one of the songs that actually gave an interesting, like, perspective for me was TP the Rebel, or also known as, like, the Rebel.
Everyone, that song always interested everybody.
And you talked about, like, rebellion, you know, about your rebelliousness toward what society wants and expects. So would you say that you had like a rebel phase at that time, and would you like to explain more and define that experience in terms of like today in that sense?
Well, I was 21, I believe. I went through a very rough church situation, which, you know, and they were calling me a rebel during that time. So you know, I kind of, you know, was against the idea of them saying I have a rebel spirit and so on and so forth. But like, eventually I adopted, you know, that, and I said, all right, let that be it if I'm going to rebel against, you know, the nonsense that's going on in this facility. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of, you know, came about putting an edge on me, you know, and that was a huge breaking point for me in, you know, making a pivot in my music, where it became more my own music than just, you know, speaking about things that weren't really my experience. And when I say that, just saying like a lot of cliche things, it became a lot more personal. After that, people started to support a lot more because, you know, they could vibe with what I'm saying because they were in the same position, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's been like 7 years or something like that since I put that record out, and 7 or 6, whatever it is. But like, you know, and you know, it's definitely been a decision that I do not regret, you know?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Would you ever say that you would ever like come back to that phase too, like if it were to happen, like in that sense too?
Shit, when I'm sorry, it depends, you know, like, you know, I'm human and I don't know the next step, you know what I'm saying? But if I gotta wear that hat again, I wear that hat again, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm older, so, you know, I'll be a little bit wiser in what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
Then when I, you know, had done that the first time, I'd definitely be more clear about why I'm rebelling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely know what you mean. You know, just with your experience and with your expertise, like with the youth and, you know, growing up in like areas like Jane and Finch and all that, how do you feel that gun violence in the city of Toronto can be prevented in that sense?
Prevented? Holy smokes. Well, I look like the police chief. Nah, you know what? Like, it's crazy right now with the gun violence in the city. It's very, very crazy. And, you know, there's a lot of community initiatives, you know what I'm saying, that's going on. I don't know if I have the answer into how to stop gun violence in the city. That's a very loaded question. But, you know, I feel like it's just, you know, supporting individuals on an individual basis, you know, and getting people not staying in their houses and doing more things together, I think would help. You know, you're busy, you don't got time to be on the block, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I remember one year I was doing construction and, you know, my friend was selling, you know, whatever he was selling during the time, and, you know, that year I made more money than him at work than, you know, him, you know, selling whatever he was selling. You know, everyone can jug on road, you know what I'm saying? Some people just have to it's okay, you don't have to do that, you know what I'm saying? 9 to 5 guys get it too.
Yeah, so I know what you mean too. So I guess like, you know, like in that sense too, like I guess like with after school programs or like
those are cool, you know what I'm saying? They only work for so long, you know, when you're a kid and all that and you're doing your education, you know, you're getting your schooling done and whatnot, that stuff is cool, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm talking about kids, you know, who are like 18, 19, you know, who are in a breaking phase. They just finish high school, they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there's apprenticeships that are paying a lot more than what you're getting on road. A lot of you guys are not even good drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? Why put yourself, like I know myself, that's not for me, so, you know, I'm not gonna play myself and put myself in that position, you know what I'm saying? So just you know, there's apprenticeships that are gonna pay you way more and you don't gotta look over your shoulder, you know? So.
Nah, no doubt. I mean, there's a lot too, like I could say like with the trades, with, I think like with service jobs, you know, like
a lot
job
of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know, just to end off with these like last 2 questions, how do you feel about the Toronto like music scene like right now? Do you feel like there should be changes on how the direction of where the scene should go to, or do you think it's like fine the way it is?
You know, like there's artistic freedom, you know, and people interpret what they want to interpret. So, and the city is blowing up like never before. You know, I don't know any other Toronto artist from the last 15 years will be getting 20 million views in this amount of time. And so clearly something right is happening. So I'm with it, you know what I'm saying? Now when it comes to, you know, this and dead ops and all that gang stuff and whatnot, I don't agree with that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, this is the most that I've been seeing artists, you know, make full-time careers in Toronto. Like, it's not heard of, you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't Drake, you know, that kind of kicked the door open, before that was Cardinal, you know what I'm saying? And there's only a couple guys that we can really think of a pioneer, and, you know, Maestro Fresh West and a couple other guys. But, you know, there's a lot. Like, you know, you see bands getting played on 93.5, you know? Yeah. And you don't, 10 years ago, did you hear Toronto rappers being played on 93.5?
You know, I think it was more like 90s R&B, 2000s R&B.
The same retro throwback songs. But, you know, you get in Toronto man's getting that up now, so... You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think, you know, Ricochet would be like one of the only examples, and then I think Peter Cash too. Like I think they've been playing, and even Mastermind too. Like they've been playing like a lot of like dope records from all these Toronto acts, you know. And I think we got to shout them out too. Americans be listening to the music and they'd be like turning up to the music and whatnot, and then we, you know, our own local radio stations are catching on now. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? We should be first to that. You know what I'm saying? It should be 93.5. You watching? You guys gotta do some sponsored shows. You know, with the road opening and whatnot. Y'all need to do something for your. You know what I'm saying? All those artists you're putting on at 11 p.m. You got to be having some show, some showcase.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sponsored by 93.5. I give you an idea. Bow, hit me up.
Yeah.
We could talk more.
Yeah, that's the one idea that we got so far, and I think even too, what else? I think, you know, even in that sense too, you got to shout out like also like, you know, the bloggers and all that type of stuff too that also kick it into, because, you know, some bloggers will hype up a song that was created by an American artist, featured a Canadian act too, so they actually played Tizzy Stacks in some American radio stations too, so like I think
that's cool too. Yeah. Americans are catching on, so I'm saying like, and the UK catching on too. Yeah. But we gotta build a better infrastructure for people to do shows and get paid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No doubt.
Like factories out here giving money. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the big grants in the city. You know what I'm saying? We gotta do some big factory events. You know what I'm saying? Where Toronto artists can, you know, have a hub. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because although people are making waves, and not necessarily, there's not enough infrastructure in Toronto to keep them. They have to like really bust up and leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely agree too. And I just want to know, like, what's like next for you for this year in terms of like other music or other projects and so forth?
Yeah, I got some new music coming out. I got a little EP, got a little love EP coming out. You know what I'm saying? You was one of the first installments. So I got a lot more records like that coming out. If anybody who's in love or loves to be in love or so on and so forth, you know, I got a lot of music coming out in that direction. You know what I'm saying? Just the season I'm in right now.
Yeah, no doubt too. And, you know, any final words you'd like to say for any person like out there pursuing their dreams, like in that sense?
Out there pursuing their dreams, keep on going, you know, and, you know, keep trying different things, experience different things. Don't be scared, you know what I'm saying? And don't worry about what your friends think. Just keep pushing and trying new things. Because, you know, if they're your friends, they're going to support you. If they're not, at least you found out that they're not. You know what I'm saying? So, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, until next time, man.